invite up Tommaso, who's our expert in residence here at GSD Labs. He helps mentor quite a few startups here, and his specialty is going to be in growth hacking. He has a wonderful talk here prepared for you today, so really excited about that. So without further ado, here's Tommaso.
And who of you guys has a product on the market, tech product on the market? Raise your hands, please. Okay, 2, 3, 4, okay. And who of you guys who have a tech product on the market is aiming to have big time traction? You're aiming to have big time traction, you're aiming to big time traction. Now the last question is do you have a clear path when it comes down to how to get traction? Raise your hands. Okay, then I'm glad that I'm doing this conversation. So at the end of the day here, what I want to convey is how I've been doing it. And let me start out to, this should work now. What qualifies me to be here? I'm a startup guy, like the guys who have a startup here. For the last 18 years, I've built 4 startups, had 2 exits, have lived in a couple of places. I'm an Italian dude, lived in Germany, UK, a bit in Brazil, and for the last 6 years here. To exit on the startup side, I had 3 enterprise company, 1 consumer, so I bring a bit of both experiences. Just to give you a couple of numbers, Maples Web, 5 years, 450,000 seats under management in cloud computing in an age where cloud was not even called cloud. In SaaS distribution within 36 months, from 0 to 36 months to 3,000 channel partners, of which 20% of them were active reselling our product. Cloud Place in the United States, 300 strategic alliance reselling our products, Swag, 15,000 downloads, and over 1.5 million in funding raised. I love sharing my lessons learned, either in form of my blog. You can follow me on What It Takes, or proud to announce this year I'm releasing my first book called Creative Traction. And it helps actually early stage startups get traction. I'm plugged into different activities as a mentor, such as here at GSD Labs, Google Launchpad, The Alchemist, Draper University, where I share and my path on what I did right and what I did wrong, so that you guys, don't have the same challenges. My last gig is called Awesome Ventures, and over the last 2 years, I built a company that we are an angel network, and we invest in early stage startups focused on solving a digital problem for the space of the transportation business. So if any of you has in mind to solve a digital problem in the space of transportation, which is aviation, automotive, and maritime, please come and talk to me. What differentiates us is that we help them growth hack, because this is our core competence, right? So rather than teaching you how to fish the fish, we basically fish the fish, and you take a look on how we do it, and then basically you learn from it, right? That's what makes us different. So we are now here in Silicon Valley, especially for those who don't live here. Now it's the moment, basically, to take picture and hashtag it and stream it and spread out that you are here learning and absorbing things. How people are doing it here. This is my Twitter handle, hashtag What It Takes. You find me on Snapchat, you find me on Telegram, and you find me on Twitter. But let's get to the topic of growth hacking. And this is my interpretation of growth hacking. What is growth hacking, right? To me, growth hacking is the agile way to run marketing today. And I had always said so in the age of Snapchat, right? That does what? That increases the odds your persona to engage. Okay, but how should they engage by leveraging marketing? It's very simple, because once you start rolling out growth hacks, the personas that you are targeting, right, they basically have a different touch points. You're targeting in a way, and you touch them and you reach them in a different way. How different, Tommaso? Well, you touch them in a way, basically, that they wouldn't have expected. So you surprise them by running growth hacks, right? So this is your goal number 1. And you start using tools that they have fun using. That's the reason why you will increase your conversion rates, right? And you will say things that they basically start becoming more curious about it, right? So then that's basically the goal of the growth hacks, right? And what I've learned the hard way is that growth hacks is not just about tools. When I'm asked, hey Tommaso, can you give me some growth hack advice? People just think that I provide my curated list of 300 tools, and that's it, right? There are actually fundamental things that you have to do to prepare before you actually start growth hacking. Because growth hacking is like driving a fast car, right? I mean, telling you, I'm driving a Ferrari, right? But if you are not used to drive a fast car, the probability of you crashing it is pretty high. So I've built here together 3 main pillars that are basically built up on so that you can start applying it, hopefully, in your next venture. The first one is the painkiller exercise, right? I'm going to provide you an exercise on laying the fundament of what? Guys, growth hacking is built up of one thing, which is communication. Oh, Tommaso, this is obvious. Well, if this is obvious, why are you messing up that much? Why are you always talking way too general, right? So what are you exactly? You know, especially in the startup age, people don't segment enough and don't convey very focused what they are doing, right? They tend to say, well, we do it all for everybody. You know what the result is? That you have way less engagement because it is not clear. You start becoming just a Me Too product. And if you are just a Me Too product, right, people don't engage. So you can growth hack the shit out of it, but if you don't have a clear communication and a clear USP, a unique selling proposition on how you are different, right, and to whom you are different, then it doesn't help you that you're driving a Ferrari, you will crash it. Does it make sense, yes or no? Hey, you're Brazilian, you should have some emotions, right? I mean, yes or no? Yes. Okay, another way. Awesome. So what I have here is a 6-step approach on how you basically get there. It's a very simple approach that I lead almost every single startup, usually after we do the canvas, the business canvas strategy, is to say, okay, analyze your competition. Who is my competitor? And you have always a competition. If you don't have a competition, you don't have a business. The minimum competition that you have is the status quo. So analyze your competition, right? And understand what they are conveying. What's their value proposition, okay? Once you understand what's their value proposition, you say, whom are they serving? Okay, so competition, value proposition, whom are they serving? And then you start doing your homework. You say, well, whom am I serving? Who is my target audience? And how am I different? But I want to emphasize that. What means different? How am I 5 to 10 times different to the status quo, to the competition? Because in Silicon Valley, we talk about innovation. If you are not 5 to 10 times different, more different, right? Then basically, why doing it, right? Because then you are a Me Too product, and then you have challenges, right? Once you figured out how you are 5 to 10 times different, then you start saying, well, what I defined and what defines me as a company in being different, how relevant is that difference to my target audience? And then you start being very honest with yourself and say, okay, what I created, this differentiation, is it relevant to my target audience? And once you have this entire six-step approach, you can craft your value proposition, which is basically the fundament for growth hacking. This is when you build a house, you need a fundament, that's the fundament. You need to understand how you are unique. Why? Because while you growth hack, the message that you have to convey is, we are unique. Otherwise, you basically do not get high conversion rates. And growth hacking is about getting high conversion rates. So on Twitter, hashtag what it takes, Me Too sucks, okay? What is one takeaway that I want you to take here from chapter number 1 is, prepare to convey to whom you are unique. Does it make sense? Make sense? Yes or no?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. And this is pretty important. Why? Because now we finally understood what we are. You are laughing, but most startups don't understand it, right? And this is a very simple way on basically getting there. So chapter number 2, recalibrate your mindset. What does it mean? It means that you basically have to rethink what you know about marketing. Marketing is old school. Growth hacking is an agile way, right? And I have 3 things, again, in the preparation before I show you all the tactics and the tools, what you have to do basically here to prepare start growth hacking. Step number 1 is, and a couple of you might follow me, I'm a big proclaimer of start before you start, and I'm going to show you why I'm a big proclaimer of it, because I raised money on a napkin without having a product by starting before I started. So what is it, okay? What is a typical pitfall for a startup? What is a no-go? What is the typical things that most of the startups do? They start building a product, and they start doing some initial focus groups, right? Then they think that once they release the product, right, they think, startup, not you guys, the startup guys, the others, right? They think, well, I released the product finally, right? And then I'm going to, this goes viral. And once it goes viral, I start attaching a traditional go-to-market project, right? That's what they think, okay? But at the end of the day, what usually happens is that the MVP sucks. Every first MVP sucks. Who knows about what I'm talking about? Okay, so the first MVP always sucks. You're not going to get viral. And when you get in your phase where you start understanding that actually, you better bring your product to market, you have no time, no money, and eventually no team if you are unlucky, right? So how do you start before you start? I want to give you an example. And you Brazilians, you might know a couple of those people that I'm showing here now. So what I did is, I started in the end of 2012. I started an app. Previously it was called Celebrity, but I renamed it to Swag. But basically what it did is basically connecting kids and fans with their influencers, right? And this was at a time where Snapchat was not Snapchat. It was at a time where Instagram was all about pictures, right? And there was almost no videos on the market. Only YouTube did have the long format video. And I said, well, what if I create an app that through videos, people can interact better by rating how they like the video? And instead of rating just with a 5-star concept, what I had is a 5-star sticker concept. I had a sticker 1 to 1,000, and people could say how much they love it by using the sticker that had a form of a kiss, or the sticker that had a form of an Oscar, right? So this was my third startup, and I had 2 exits already. What I did back then, I could have started developing the tool. I could have started enough knowledge, know-how, and money to go ahead and say, I do my next thing, but I didn't. What I did is I started validating, without a product, all my assumptions with 0 product. So what is it that I did? Okay, I want to reach out to my target audience. Who's my target audience? Influencers and kids. I have 2 kids. Who has kids here? Okay. I have 2 kids the age of 15 and 10. Working with kids together, not just as a parent, right? But if you want to do business with them, it's really a hell of a job, right? Who knows what I'm talking about, right? So, and what I started saying is, hey kids, I'm creating this tool that gives you video, you can share your thrilling moments, people can engage with you, and your influencers basically start connecting with you. Are you interested? So I started reaching out to them and creating a community. Once I had a community and I started verticalizing the community, I started reaching out to a couple of influencers here in the United States. And there are a couple of videos also about me with some influencers from Hollywood. But then I figured that, wow, I can go to Brazil, which I love your country, and I say it's much simpler because I say, hey, I'm the guy from Silicon Valley, I bring you technology. And I started talking with a couple of influencers, singers, athletes. This was before the World Cup. And they're pretty open to these topics of innovation. They're pretty open to whatever comes from the United States, so I had a really great access into the Brazilian market. And one dude who eventually became a friend of mine, who knows this guy? So one dude, he said, well, Tommaso, I really love this idea. I want to join, right? And he basically, what he did is he started creating a couple of videos, and he started saying, hey guys, I'm one of the first one using this app from Silicon Valley, and you can get a code. This is the code. You can put yourself in a line, right? And you will be one of the first one getting the app. And there was 0 app, okay? This was just me validating if I can reach out to those guys and if I can reach out to a target audience. So I validated actually the most challenging thing because those guys are not easy, neither are the kids, right? So when I started understanding that, yes, there is an interest in there, what I did is I started basically developing just a batch generator. And a batch generator that I posted on Google and in the App Store was nothing else that basically if you downloaded this was just saying, hey, you are following those guys, okay? And you are the number 23 on getting the app. That's what I call a scarcity strategy. I want to repeat again for those who have not understood. I had no product so far. This was just about validation, validation, validation. Within a couple of days, I had, of course, huge downloads, that's the proof, with 0 product. And then I came back from a vacation having a lot of churrasco and caipirinhas, and I went to hear to a couple of investors and I said, guys, I'm not pitching you a vision. I'm not intended to change the world. I'm just saying, hey, I pitched this to a couple of target audiences. These are the numbers that we got. Do you want to be part of the ride, yes or no? So these are facts. That's the reason what I say is start before you start is the most valuable thing that you can do. This will save you a lot of money, a lot of time, and in some cases, marriages and families. But I want to be involved in that, right? So what is it that I convey, what is it that I learned the hard way? Value proposition validation is key. How do you validate early enough value proposition? Create a community, Facebook group. Engage and learn with the community, make them part of something, okay? Go on speaking engagement and test your idea before you have the product. Don't be scared. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you better are not scared, right? Test different traction channels, right? So you validate a lot your idea before that. Once you get to the pre-release, this is the best. Startups come to me and say, no, Tommaso, this is not a release, this is a silent release. Mm-hmm. What the f*** is a silent release? I mean, if I ask you, do you want a loud release or a silent release, what would you want to have, George? A fucking big bang release, right? So you have a silent release because you have failed in your approach. So don't release silently. Create a scarcity strategy. Make it rare. Hey, we are releasing this. Who wants to be part of it? Create videos that are announcing it, right? Like Dropbox was doing it before release, or Box was doing it before release. Create pre-sign-ups, okay, before releasing. So in other words, very simple, you have to generate a hype before you release. Well, fact is, if you're not able of doing that, the probability of your product failing is pretty high if you don't do that, because you are not starting engaging and your topic eventually is not interesting enough, right? Then once you start releasing it, you have a lot of people following you, a lot of cheerleaders, a lot of ambassadors, you create viral loops, and then where the probability becomes higher of you engaging with your target audience.
Can you come back?
Sure. So, change your mindset. Point number 2. Okay? Discover the uncluttered channel. Change your mindset. Discover the uncluttered channel. What does it mean? Please. When I ask startups, okay, what's your go-to-market strategy? Oh, well, we release the product and then we do something on social. Yes, and people will come through social. This is bullshit, right? Just because you have an Instagram account, people are not coming and they're not clicking on your Instagram account, they're just going to your website, nobody's waiting for you, right? So it means that basically don't start using traditional tools. Traditional tools are very simple for those who have big pockets, big money. Who of you guys that has a startup has big dollars on a bank account?
None.
Okay, so there is still, okay. Okay, so what you have to do is to rethink this approach. Don't think also that Rolodex and asking a friend, faz favor para mim. This is bullshit, you're not going to scale, yes? So people are going to, they do one favor, but they won't do the second or third. So having people just with Rolodex is not really a go-to-market strategy. What you have to do in terms of rethinking your mindset, weekly, you have to discover new tools, okay? Why? Because the new tools, they lead towards an uncluttered channels. And I'm going to bombard you in the 3rd chapter with tools today that I've been collecting over the last 36 months. But this should change your mindset. If you don't make it part of your mindset to discover daily product hunt, okay? I test at least 1 to 2 products every fucking single week, and ask me if I have time, okay?
You make it.
I make it, right? I have 2 kids, by the way, a couple of startups, I run at 5:30 in the morning, and I do this, okay? Now, the interesting thing about discovering tool is the following. A tool today, in the age of Snapchat, can give you actually a strategy towards the market that you have not thought about. Does that make sense?
No.
Does it make sense what I'm saying, yes or no? Yes or no? Resonance? Yes, okay, makes sense. What does it mean? If a tool gives me the strategy, it means that I can step back if I do sales and marketing and say, wait, why should I start with a strategy first? Which usually if you go in a corporate, let's do the strategy. Because if you do the strategy first, then you define already what you're going to use. No. In growth hacking, you discover tools first. These tools give you the strategy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Excited?
Right. Interesting.
Chrome. A lot of widgets that help you growth hack this, right? And I give you an example. I'm always a friend of not just, rah, rah, rah. Just giving you really a real example. This is my blog. www.whatittakes.es. What it takes to do startup. I started roughly 3 years ago with zero. This is a product, right? It's like starting on zero, right? How did I start it out? First of all, I said, what do I want to do? How am I unique? Well, what I want to do is share my experience as a global citizen and doing entrepreneurship with other entrepreneurs that face the same. Oh, who's my target audience? Entrepreneurs, upcoming entrepreneurs. What do you want to share as a content? Well, the content about my life and what I'm living in terms of tech, in terms here of tech and around the globe. Okay, this is the content that you want to share. 0 followers. Okay, now let's start thinking about tools. What did I do? Who's that? Okay. So what I did is, can I stop it? Anyhow, I will give up. If this would have been my wife, I would have taken it. I have only one boss, and it is her. You don't want to see a Brazilian angry, right?
No, not at all.
So just give me a second. Okay, awesome. What is it that I did? I started looking for tools, not for strategy, but looking for tools, right? And what I found is basically a tool that is called Bassumo. On Bassumo, what you can do is basically search by topic. What topic do I want to write about? About startups, about traction, about things that startup talk, right? About Y Combinator. And what you get out of it is basically you see what is trending as a topic. Why was it important to me? Because once you see what is trending as a topic, what you can do here on a tool like this is click and say, who is actually talking about this? Wow, awesome, I have my target audience right there. These are my people that I want to have on my blog. I had only one challenge. They were all Bassumo not on my blog. I said, shit, how am I going to do that, right? So now I have the topic that they're going to talk about, and names and company names. Okay, then next thing that I had to do is, how can I get in contact with them? What I did is, I found another tool, and that's about where growth hacking comes in place. Growth hacking is about plumbing different things together that as a result, it makes sense and it leads you to the goal of conversion, right? So what I did is I basically found a tool that is called MakesMail. And what you can do here is you import names and company names, and it provides you email addresses. Now that I have an email address, I'm unstoppable.
Can you come back?
Yes.
Thank you.
How do you search for these things?
These are the platforms that I was showing you. I have like 3-4 places that I'm looking. Like Product Hunt is my daily splash page, right? For instance, right? Then there is beta release. There are a couple of pages where you find new tools, right? And most of the tools suck, by the way, right? So you have a lot of effort, right, in testing it, and then you see that it doesn't work. But that's the beauty. You want to find the uncluttered channel, right? Because you don't have basically, the dollars and the team to get the bridge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what you do, once I have basically the email addresses, you start using a very personalized email tool, such as, for instance, Mailshake, but the content is key, right? So I started reaching out to those people who had shared, topic is about startups, and I'm going to talk about startups, so they are my ideal target group, and say, hey dude, thanks for sharing what you shared. I'm making a compliment. Thanks for sharing what you shared. I learned from it. And by the way, I'm talking about this too. And I thought that because of that, you might be interested. And thanks again for sharing. Okay? So this is my personal reach. And this is one of 6 emails that I put in a cadence and reach out. And so I basically started converting more and more, right? So number 3 in changing your mindset. So here it's change your mindset towards tools, right? Number 3 in changing your mindset, and this is to me the biggest pillar. I'm a big advisor to this topic is give before you ask. Now I'm going to show you the biggest bullshit number 1 that I see over and over again. Hi, I have a great tool. It does it all. You wouldn't think of it, and you will benefit from it, and I want time from you, or you better test it. Does it sound familiar to anybody? You don't have to raise your hands, right? Guys, this is what most of the people do. And I don't get it. Shit, you're raising money, you put the team together, it's hard to find the and then you launch a shit like this. This is not leading to any conversion rate. In other firms, let me be politically correct. If you launch 100 of those messages, or messages where you start collaborating with people, the probability of they engaging with that mail is very low. What is that you want to achieve with growth hacking? It's a high conversion rate, right? And this doesn't convert. Now, let me tell you why it doesn't convert. Because if you design a value ladder, okay, a value ladder is where you break down your steps towards your customer, okay? If you design a value ladder, what you are doing by asking people, okay, is to basically you expect from them, without them knowing you, to give you time. And actually they only give you time, your target audience gives you only time if they become curious about it. So your question is, rather than you asking, okay, and what you do is you say, how can I make them curious about my product? And in order to get there, in order to ask, you have to give first. What is it that means give first? You have to bond first. This is what I advise every single startup. Before you ask, you have to bond first. Because if you have a relationship, okay, and you add value, then the result of value is that they become curious. And I give you a couple of examples, okay? I call it inclusive activities. You make your target audience part of what you do. You make your target audience part of your brand. Hey George, come and let's collaborate on this thing together, okay? Or join the community, which is just exclusive. Or get access to these documents that I just make available through VP of Sales. Give. Or invite for lunch and learns, okay? And meet people. Give, okay? Create an ebook. Create a podcast. And invite people to talk. You know what they're going to ask you at the end after the lunch and learn, after the talk? Oh, thank you for taking the time and doing this with me. But tell me, what is it that you do? What is it that you do? Who would want to have the sentence, right? Rather than banging your heads and saying,
See
right?
what I got.
Exactly.
Right? Instead of selling,
Exactly.
over.
Exactly. Thanks, David. So one example, I'll give you two examples. Growth Hackers is an amazing tool. Sean Ellis is the founder who basically also has coined the word growth hacking. What this tool is, it allows you to manage multiple growth hacks, because growth hacks is always A/B testing different campaigns, right? And you need something that measures and tracks and collaborates with your team members. This is an amazing tool. But what is he doing with this email? Is he asking me to test the tool? Is he asking me to buy the tool? Is he asking me to try the tool? No, he's giving. He says, hey, I'm a growth hacking tool. This is a growth hack for you. This is how you, yada, yada, right? So he is giving, because he basically says, I'm bonding, I'm providing value first, and please don't say it's obvious, because otherwise we would have, right? So provide value first, okay? And then you start engaging. Right? Just because I like doing coherent things, let me follow up on the swag thing, right? So what I did with the swag is an exercise that was amazing to me. So imagine, my main target group was kids, okay? And kids are amazingly opinionated to get. I think it's the most challenging target audience to get. Why? Because they're less about rational and facts, they're more about emotional things, right? If you don't catch them emotional, right, they are not coming. So I was thinking a lot, again, back then Instagram was big and everybody was using Instagram. I was saying, shit, how am I getting those kids that use Instagram, right? With me, you can do videos. Instagram didn't do videos back then, guys. With me, the videos can have a rating. This doesn't happen, right? The interaction is much funner, right? So what I created is something that even to me at the beginning didn't make sense at all. Afterwards, you're always smarter, right? So this is what I did. I created an offline event called the Swag Event. I invited kids based on three things. Come and, number one, eat pizza. Yes.
Boom.
Number two, meet peers, so meet friends. And number three, participate in a competition. So just to double check. Did I say anything about swag or download the app? Okay, I didn't say. Okay, anything about the app. What happened is that I see on a Saturday afternoon coming 50 kids. I had enough already with my 2 kids, right? And I see 50 kids coming there on this event, and this is how I opened up the event. I said, hey, first eat pizza, meet new peers. And by the way, at the end you can win a hoodie if you participate in this challenge. Oh, great, what's the challenge about? The challenge is you have to capture and share thrilling moments via video, and the video must be rated. Now, please help me. Which tool is doing that? Is it Instagram doing it? Oh, Instagram, rating, video? No, it's not. Facebook, oh, we don't use Facebook. I said, well, glad you asked, download Swag. We got, in this day, 3,000 downloads just from this activity. Okay, why? Because we give and we created something that they wouldn't expect. Can you please, Bobby, you, please help me reading this one, because this is to me the mantra of that.
Yeah, take your target audience beyond what they expect to get from your product.
Guys, if you understand this, you will rock every single growth hack. You have to take them beyond. And I explain you what it means, okay? If you are a marketplace, a tool that is a marketplace, you know what people expect from you as a marketplace? That you connect A with B, because this is what a marketplace does. If you as a social community, okay, you know what they expect? That your post, you can comment on it, like it, and share it, because you're a social. So this is what they expect. If you are a video tool, they expect that you basically are able to stream videos, okay? If you are a mentoring tool based on communication, collaboration, that they expect that your tool collaborates and communicates. So this is what they expect. You know what they don't expect? They expect that you take them beyond them, that you give them emotions, right? So this is where they start bonding with your brand, okay? So this is where you start giving. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Just to you? Does that make sense? Okay, cool, awesome. So, takeaway here. What is the takeaway here? People don't buy stuff, they buy what stuff does with them. Yeah? They don't buy the product, they buy what it does with them emotionally. So, your goal is to create emotion, right? And by now, it's going to be awesome because now you are prepared, you know, to do some ninja stuff, right? Because now, you better fasten your seatbelt. I'm going to unleash here quite a couple of things here that I've been collecting over the last 36 months. Again, I'm a guy who collects a lot of tools, tests a lot of tools, uses a lot of tools, A/B tests the shit out of it, right? So I'm for the first time here, starting from now on, I'm going to open it up, right? And I'm going to overwhelm you here, right? So what means here chapter number 3 in growth hacking, okay? Here it's not the time to execute, where you think about tactics, where you think about tools, right? Okay? So pitfall number 1 is most of the startup that you ask again, say, I do a bit here, I will do a bit there, right? What I say to that is, you have to stop just spraying and praying that something sticks, okay? So this is not how you approach your go-to-market. What you do need is a funnel. Oh yes, that's obvious. Great, if it's obvious, why don't you do it, right? So you have to do, so who knows this funnel? 500 startups, right? So relatively known this funnel, right? So these are the phases, right? When you how you bring your product to market, attaching tactics and tools. What I add to it, I add the fundament to it. Because before, this is the change, who didn't take a picture here should not take a picture here. You see the change, right? You see the change, right? So what is the funnel? But what is it that you put into the funnel, right? What is your lead message that you put into the funnel? You have to give first what I was discussing with you again, right? So, and you took a picture, yes?
Yes.
By the way, on Twitter, Facebook, hashtag, what it is, right? It's important. I'm going to give you afterwards a challenge. If you don't do it now, you will lose something. Okay, so step number 1, here are a couple of things, okay, and I discussed it already. What I usually do is, okay, Tommaso, but how can I come up with this idea of giving? What should I give? And I have a very simple metrics that I figured after I understood what I'm doing, and I put it on here on a couple of the rows in an Excel, right, in a sheet. So what I do is, for instance, if you have an app that provides thrilling moments, So what you define first is, what am I doing? What is your core value proposition? You understand what you're doing. Like, I'm a health app, okay? And in order to take them beyond, what you do is you start thinking of activities that are also around health, but are not attached with your app. For instance, you can do an offline gym group. You invite people, say, I'm a health app, okay? And I invite people in Redwood City to do on Saturday the 5 miles run. It has to do with health, right? But it's not my app. It's powered by your app. You are the one who takes them beyond. Why? Because they don't expect that you do the run. Does that make sense? And then you start bonding with them. And at the beginning, it is amazingly important because you need fans to support it, right? That's what I was saying, you know. Bonding is number one rule, it's the most important one. Once you have that, you go into the acquisition, which is the step of the acquisition. These are all tools that I break down in consumer tactics, and what tools are those? Business tactics, and what tools are those? And for both, okay? These are all tools that I've been collecting, that I've been using. And I want to give you just a couple of examples to make it very tangible. This is the result of you figuring out what tools you want to use. This is valuable time for you. This is how you approach the market, right? And where to find the persona. First, I give you an example in acquisition, okay? What I usually do and often do in the B2B space is this hack here. Very simple afterwards once you saw it, but you have to get it, right? So what I do is I narrow down a search on LinkedIn, a very focused search depending on my topic, okay? Very focused. And what I mean with focus is don't search just general VP sales, for instance, right? You say, hey, the role VP sales in the space of automotive in San Francisco in a company size 500 to 100. You know why this is important? Because I take this and I put it and craft it into the message. Hey, I'm reaching out because we do an activity for VP sales in the automotive space, company size 500. Shit, he's talking with me. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Okay, so that's what I'm doing. Then I have the filter. Once I have the filter, I export the data by using hunter.io, and this is the emails. And then I start elegantly getting in contact with them on two ways. One, through LinkedIn directly by using GPC, it's another tool, and by basically putting it on a drip campaign. Conversion rates, huge. Why? Frequency, very focused, very narrow, very much what the user wants to read. Here I have 300 plus channels listed from a good friend of mine, Jesse, with whom I was a mentor at European Innovation Academy last year and this year, where you have basically sources on where to launch your startups. Okay, these are things that you guys usually, once you want to launch your startup, are looking up, right? These are sources that are rated based on quality, on results, probability that we have collected, right? And this is another acquisition channel, okay? Then you go into the activation part. So what is activation in the funnel? Activation is what is it that you want your target audience, your buyer persona, to undertake. What do you want the persona to do? Again, the breakdown is always the same here. You have tactics that I described on how to activate them. You have the tools that I've been using. And I give you an example of activation, okay? One activation is, imagine you have now traffic on your website, you know, in B2B, and I want to stick to the B2B because it's pretty tangible. So you use an app called Drift App. It has an amazing user experience. Right now they released also an intelligent AI-oriented bot, so it starts communicating with the visitors in a very friendly way, okay? And so the probability of you collecting email address here is very high, right? And what we then do, what I really like a lot is this tool here, Webinar Jam. Right? Once I have the email, I start inviting them to Webinar Jam. Webinar Jam is a way of basically having a webinar. It looks like it as it is live, but it's actually recorded, right? And the reason why it looks like it is live because there is a feed here on the left side of the right side, and the feed is you know, and the feed basically inserts questions during the flow. And you think that the questions are live because they come in after 3 minutes, but you have prepared actually the questions, right?
Amazing.
Right? So this is actually pretty cool. So you release your entire, you know, you streamline your entire, you know, approach.
Everything staged.
Absolutely, yes,
Wow.
that's what it is, right? So retention is when you basically say, well, I have initial customer, right? How can I, or initial target audience, how can I make sure that they come back? How can you motivate them to come back? Because if you have somebody who just downloads your app or who just sign up once, it's actually the worst KPI that you can show anybody, because it shows that there is something broken in communication, that there is something broken in your tool, that it's not ripe enough, because people don't see the value in coming back. Does it make sense?
Yep.
Are you with me? Okay, again, how do you retain your customer? Couple of tactics, couple of tools. I give you again here one tangible hack. This app is not Drift app. Okay, so this app here allows you. This is branch.io. This app here allows you to deep link the message that you send to the target audience. I'll give you an example. Imagine you have an app. This is an example here at Airbnb, right? And you know that the persona is right now in San Francisco, so the probability is high that you need an apartment here. So you get an email. Now this email, if you click on it, usually what happens, it opens up just the app if it's not deep linked. They can send you directly to the final offering. Why? Because it increases conversion rates, right? So the deep linking is a really cool tool because it actually understands the circumstances where the person is in, right? And you feel motivated to come back. Again, retention is increase the motivation of coming back. Does it make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
With me? So this tool I love, Blue Jeans. Blue Jeans is a tool that basically connects two huge things. It connects to Facebook Live, right? Instead of doing one-to-many, this is for you, it's huge, man.
Yes.
Instead of doing the one-to-many, where you basically, like here in front of the camera and talking to, and I don't know whom I'm talking to, you just start inviting others. So you do now Facebook Live with many parties, right? Why is it important? First of all, because right now, it is hot and it's, everybody's using Facebook Live, it's really a way to go right now, right? So, and it's different, right? So you start saying, hey, yeah, I want to participate in that. So people are motivated to come back, right? Make sense? Yes? Clear?
Yes.
Excellent. Revenue. How to generate revenue, where to generate revenue, or what I like to say is, how can you create a journey for your buyer persona that actually is almost attracted to signing up or giving you money? How can you? This is basically the entire picture behind the revenue, right? And to make it more tangible, again, in the enterprise business, usually software as a service, you start doing trials. So trials are a very delicate and a very important phase before the decision-taking moment, right? Do I want to become a customer after the trial? Yes or no? So in other words, of course your product must do what you say and must deliver a value, but if you provide a great experience during the trial, during the initial phase, the probability increases for them to convert and become a customer. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Here, Autopilot, okay? And shout out to Josh Fechter, right? So Autopilot. So this is a tool that basically where you can trigger with a very simple way through visual emails, depending on which phase your customer or potential customer is in. So in other words, it understands what action you're taking on the platform, on the tool, and based on that, it sends you the email, and it provides an amazing experience, right? Another tool that I like talking about because I use a lot is the tool called PandaDoc, right? So when you do enterprise business, it's all about reading terms and conditions, checking boxes, making sure that you bundle products together eventually, saying yes, this I want, this I don't want, and then signature, right? So this is a tool that provides it all. You can design, they can check boxes, they can say this I want, I don't want, they take a look at the term sheets, and they can sign right there. So this expedites, it makes it faster, the way from proposal to signature. Who does want a faster way to proposal to signature? Yes. Okay, so I'm not done. Referral, and this is the last part of the funnel. What is referral? Referral is basically when the persona says, wow, this is awesome what these guys do, I want to actually tell somebody else to come, right? Again, here, a couple of tactics, a couple of tools, and let me break down one tool that I use quite a lot. It's called Kickoff Labs. So the beauty of Kickoff Labs, this tool, is basically a tool that creates a viral contest, including a leaderboard. So in other words, I'll give you an example. If your app, okay, or your platform has the benefit of, it makes you save money, okay, just as an example, then you basically, once you save the money, so imagine I'm the user and now I save the dollars, right? Then basically this is the moment where you have to ask, right? Because it made me save money. So this is the moment where my app actually provides the full value of what I say it does. Then you ask for a referral. Now what you can say is, hey, refer others, because if you refer others, you get, and then you plan what they get.
The next person.
Right? And the nice thing about this, and it's very simple, right? They have a unique link that they can forward, share on Facebook, share on Twitter, email, WhatsApp, for Brazilians important, right? They can share it, right? And then if they click on it, the tool recognizes, because it's a unique app, the tool recognizes who came through you as a referral, and you start trending on a leaderboard. Huge, everybody wants visibility, right? And this was basically the GAARR funnel, right? And this is something that, this sentence is something that I heard the first time from one of the co-founder of the PayPal, and he talks about that in his book, and it's saying, build IP into your go-to-market. And I want to stuck just a second to that is because the guys in startup, we in startup, we spend a lot of time and energy in building a product that eventually is changing the world. And then when it comes to go-to-market, we fuck up. We are not creative anymore, okay? So you have to make sure that you have to build your intellectual property into your go-to-market. Does that make sense?
No, it's interesting.
Okay? Because it is unique. Investors, when they want to acquire it, if you have success, one thing is the technology IP, but you have strong partnership, if you have strong communities, if you have individual channels that you have growth hack, this is IP that not somebody else is repeating, right? Awesome. This is from my side how to growth hack your startup idea. Now, question I have to you is, I would have to give two things. One, it's the deck, okay, that we went through, okay? And the second thing that I would have to give is an 8-step table where I show you how to figure out your unique selling proposition I was showing before. I will expand upon what is the GARR guideline so that you have 4 or 5 pages on that. I have all the tools that I could provide. So, and I only share it if you guys are interested. Who is interested? Raise your hands. Okay. So for those who are interested in this, right, it's a give and get life, right? So this is my condition. We're talking about growth hacking, right? You have 3 hours, right? Again, I'm collecting these things for many times. So first of all, number one, I always love feedback, right? A good friend of mine, he's Brazilian. Shout out to Rodrigo Barros. He says always, we launched the book beta, right? He says that we are always in beta, right? Yes, we are always in beta. It's very important. So I need feedback. If you go on B.what it takes, it just provides me feedback. What is it that sucked in the presentation? What is it that you would change if you would stand here and had 18 years of experiences, right? And what is it that you would have expected? The second thing is shout out on Twitter. That's always a grateful thing that you guys can do, right? And then I have a group. It's a closed group on Facebook for entrepreneurs, where I love sharing things like hacks and tactics and experiences from around the globe, which is called What It Takes. So if you find a group, What It Takes, sign up, invite 2 friends, and ping me that you did it. And then I'm more than happy to share with you what we did.